IVM.
It's been another great week on IVM Podcast, and if you're not following us on social media, please do. We're at IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc., etc. On our latest episodes of The Seen and the Unseen, Amit Verma is joined by author and columnist Vivek Paul to decode how the government uses and misuses data for optics management. On Pulyabazi, Pranay and Saurav talked to author Snigdha Poonam about her new book, Dreamers. On Football Twaddle, we have Azim Banatwala as a guest with Saru Baru and Kumar discussing the end of the UEFA Champions League. And on Who's Your Mommy, Veda talks about mothers and how they cope with their constant sleep deprivation. As I said, it's been a great week, and please try and listen to as many of these shows as you can. And now, on to your show.
Hi.
You're
Listening to
IVM
Daily.
Hi guys, welcome to IVM Daily. I'm Navin and Sharanya. This is a show where we talk about our feelings and whatever is happening around the world. Joining me today is Sharanya.
Hi guys.
She's perfect, she's beautiful. She looks like Linda Evangelista.
Yeah.
Work, honey. We're celebrating Pride Month. June is officially Pride Month, and for a lot of us, Pride means a lot of different things. The reason we celebrate Pride Month in June is because of the Stonewall riots, and the Stonewall riots began because of a drag queen called Marsha B. Johnson, and it's been a struggle, right? So many years has gone in, and June is now officially, like, you see now it's become like, every brand is in on it. They're like,
you see all the logos changing on Twitter to like rainbow colors. I'm like, yeah, I get it. You're
the Instagram hashtags now, if you like put queer life, it becomes like different rainbow colors, which is nice. It's not too bad. But while we talk about the fun part of being proud of your orientation, and look, I've been out of closet for 7 years now. One thing that we obviously face in the community, even within the LGBT community, is inclusivity is a big issue right now. Like, for someone like me who's a chubby guy, like I sometimes struggle to like blend well with the hunky demigorgons. Demigorgons, I said, which is right. But so we talk about like trans people, we talk about lower income classes, we talk about casteism, misogyny. All of that has now, again, like in the Indian community as well, has kind of become a major problem.
I think the assumption that the LGBT community as an all-inclusive community is unfortunately not true.
Yeah.
Although I do feel like what they've done for lots and lots of people to come out of the closet and to feel proud about who they are is great. But inclusivity is, again, based on caste, it's based on class, it's based on also like bisexuals, asexuals. There's so many types of identity that we haven't even understood yet, and somehow I think there's a human nature to, if you understand something and if you are part of something, to feel like this is it, this is all of us. You can't, nobody else is included in this. We've struggled so much, only we understand each other. But I think the unfortunate part is that sometimes while trying to be in our own community, we end up othering other people and not letting them in because we just can't identify. But some people didn't identify with you before.
Exactly.
I think it's a really complicated situation.
So there comes a point of privilege, right, mainly with the gays and the lesbians, because we are like, okay, we are men who like men, women who like women. But then when someone gender non-conforming comes into the picture, I'm like, why should I call them they? And why should I go out of my comfort zone to accommodate somebody else while you're wanting the same thing? Right now, like, there's a lot of controversy around RuPaul's Drag Race community as well, because season 10 started off with like RuPaul's controversy, which was like about transgenders not becoming,
and his tweet about how you wouldn't let Olympic athletes with steroids. It's not the same thing.
Analogy was very bad.
And see, that's what's really weird. Even the drag community, which is already a small community, and they face so much of flack from people, and even then in that community there are so many fragmented problems. Like it's really unfortunate, I guess.
So season 10 is like right now in news because the Vixen, who was recently eliminated from the show, spoiler alert.
This is all going to be spoilers for season 10. So just catch up because
the top 5 at least. So like basically now, as you pointed out, there's only one
black queen left. Asia
O'Hara is left, and Monet left recently.
I think Monet was really disappointing to me, honestly, because I find where sometimes with like people who were left over, like Eureka, I mean, God, she should have gone a couple of weeks ago. I feel the same way about Cameron, who I think is gorgeous, by the way, and I love Cameron because she is so beautiful and so understated and underconfident and sweet, underwhelming sometimes. But to compare her talent to Monet Exchange, for example, who is a personality, and sometimes I mean, obviously there are different ways to judge drag queens. On the show, of course, it's fashion, comedy, and lip sync.
Yeah.
But for personality, is such a big deal. If I go to watch a drag show, I want to see big personalities.
Exactly.
I want to see Monet Exchange. I don't want to see Cameron Michaels. I'm sure she's amazing, and I love her.
I've gone back to the lip sync battle with her and Dusty Ray Bottoms a billion
Oh my
times.
God, so
the
good.
Poundy alarm. And so Monet works it out. Like if you watch her videos otherwise as well, what she does on YouTube as well, she's one of those queens like who is like from the Bob the drag queen school of thought, where she's like a New York queen.
Yeah, Miss Cracker is actually from Bob the drag queen's family.
Yeah. So I agree with Cameron Michaels' criticism, but again I'm kind of rooting for her as well.
I do like honestly the Cameron and Eureka lip sync was beautiful. I've never seen one of those.
By the way,
oh, really?
It's so difficult to find on YouTube.
It is so good. It's one of the best this season.
Yeah.
And I agree with that decision. But I do feel like there is some argument about inclusivity in terms of race on this season, but especially the Vixen, obviously, because she came across as such an aggressive woman.
Yeah.
And her real clear perception while she was fighting with Aquaria that people will perceive this as an angry black woman fighting with a small white person is so real because you can't escape it.
Yeah.
Like once you see that picture, it's very difficult to think of the Vixen as the victim.
Yeah.
And not that she is. I'm not saying she should be.
I mean, like, she was mostly asking for it in many ways. Like, if you look at the Untucked episodes, which is after the, the main runway happens, there she's just like, I don't want anybody to, like, come in my way because I'll go for you, I'll cut you off and stuff like that.
I think the thing with the Vixen, who obviously comes from Chicago's drag scene, which is a really difficult drag scene to, like, be in because of the amount of the amount of racism they face there. Not to mention poverty. So I get that she comes from a really like pride and
she had to fight for her survival.
She had to fight a lot. She's practically always defensive because she has to be like that. When a couple of episodes into Untucked, I was very much against the Vixen, not on the show itself, but you know when somebody asked her, I want to say it was Asia who asked her to tone down her, like, can you not get so angry? And she said, no, I will not. I will not be asked to tone down who I am. But of course, she expects the same out of Eureka, for example.
Yeah.
But I think the
two giant personalities clashing.
I think the big mistake the Vixen made is when she took it personally when all the other queens said she should go home.
Yeah.
Right? I think that was the big thing. She got hurt about it because, but you came out defensive. You came saying I'm going to fight here and I'm the villain in this season.
Yeah.
But I do feel that there is I understand the race impact of it. I feel like it's so obvious. And Eureka, there is a video of Eureka, by the way, that is being hotly challenged here.
Okay.
Is a video of her sitting in a car where she says the N-word multiple times.
Oh.
And of course she apologized for it.
And also for the DragCon, like Asia O'Hara went on a whole Twitter spree calling Eureka out for being like a fake queen. Like, you know,
oh, really?
Because what happens is like, we all talk about like, you know how big the fandom is now and how people go for the queens, and while at DragCon every queen will meet each other and try to like take photos or whatever, Eureka was like aloof and didn't want to, like she was like I'm too good for my own, I've been in 2 seasons, like I'm better than Shangela now.
I do say like the fandom of RuPaul's Drag Race is actually really toxic sometimes, especially with like if you remember with what is it? I think it was Valentina last season.
Oh yeah, Valentina's fans were like the worst.
They were really bad to
Aja.
No, not to Aja. The one who eliminated her, Nina Bonina Brown.
Oh yeah.
She was the one who eliminated her that season. I mean, the outrage against her on like personal attacks on Twitter and Instagram was a lot. And I know sometimes like I get being a big fan of something, but fandom plays out in the most weirdest way. And this is where your privilege comes through.
Gay men, right? Like you guys are fighting for the same thing. We're on the same team.
It's that. I mean, it is one thing to say like, oh, because you are already a minority, you should be supportive of all minorities. Nobody's saying that's true.
Yeah.
But there is a way in which people are being attacked for this for stuff. Like, my God, how can you do that? Do you not understand what they've been through as well? Like, this is a big fight. It's a big fight to be here.
But that's what it's like. RuPaul now is like the whole show has come so far now in 10 seasons in a decade now, and from where earlier they were struggling to get drag queens to audition for the show, now they have like thousands and thousands of people auditioning.
People spend so much money.
The ones who make it, who make it are like already pseudo celebrities on Instagram or on Twitter or whatever. So they come with a baggage of like their fan base trying to like rally for them. And if you go to Reddit and you see like how people are just like being very abusive and very like it became very toxic for me. So
I honestly think that this is the first season I felt like the toxic quality was coming from a race point. I feel like because it was coming from a very non-inclusive. black queens versus white queens a little bit, because I read a lot of criticism about when Monet got eliminated, because now Asia is the only black queen, and there was a lot of like, does RuPaul hate his black fans? Because RuPaul, the criticism for RuPaul, of course, has been that he has aligned himself as separate from race.
Yeah.
She doesn't talk to like, doesn't talk about race, she doesn't talk about being a black queen.
Yeah.
She is very much out of it.
Because apart from her, everybody else on the judges table is also white.
It's always white.
Michelle Visage, Ross Matthews, Carson Presley.
Yeah.
So like it's very difficult now to like see where this is going, because I also think that maybe it might be a producer's decision to like trick us into like believing to the hype of it, because when you are Hamasaki in this season, when first day of them de-dragging, he's like, which one is whom?
Yeah.
She goes to the black queens and asks all 5 of them like, who are you and who are you? Which one are you? So I'm like, if they had like sensitivity, they wouldn't air that.
They would not air that.
But it did, because they want to like have this conversation now.
That's possible, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, even with
So if you watch Miss Cracker's video, she does the review with the Jew, right? And she'll tell you like how much behind the scene like producers try to feed them lines, like the whole Aquaria and Miss Cracker's look being the same. They try to feed that. That's why they did that whole reality show thing where they made them like do that thing.
Right.
So it's like they're really forcing certain stereotypes and certain plot lines down our throats.
Yeah.
And sometimes they really the gays lap it up, man.
Yeah.
And they're okay
I wonder
with
if this show has increased acceptance of drag queens in general.
It has.
It has, right?
I think
in a good way.
Yeah, since its inception, like it's opened a lot of conversations. Even last season when they spoke about Pulse, nightclub attacks and everything, I think it was very iconic for any show to be addressing that.
I think what Drag Race really gets right is that they always balance enough humor with enough emotional stuff. So you feel like really rooted into, yes, I understand this. This is what they're saying. Especially there was an episode this season where Miss Cracker talks about being so poor that they couldn't afford lunch.
Yeah.
It was like a throwaway line, but it really like hit me. I was like, oh my god.
Her mom would like pack
empty lunch boxes, so they had the lunch box to carry.
That kind of like hurts.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was so harsh. I think it does obviously make people, even if you're not aware of the situation with drag queens or the drag community, the show obviously makes you feel a little more empathetic, I guess. But the problem in the drag community itself is a lot. Like, that's a real problem, I guess.
So race is a big deal.
Yeah, I don't think any community can ever be fully inclusive of anything, I guess. Because there are so many different factors that impact who you accept.
True.
Have you seen the last season of Atlanta?
Not the
Season 1?
Season 1 I've seen, yeah.
Remember there's an episode which is treated as a full joke episode where the guy says, I'm a 35-year-old white man trapped in a black man's body.
Yeah.
Trans race.
Yeah.
And there is actually, it was obviously a goddamn joke to me. But like there is an actual conversation online about trans race. If you can say identify with a different gender than you were born, because gender is a spectrum. Is race a spectrum? I don't think so, honestly, because maybe I don't know enough. That's totally a
I think
possibility.
these things will always evolve in the coming years, and
if you look at like the whole Rachel Dolezal case where she pretends to be, I guess, black or whatever. If your heritage comes from something but your skin color is something else, there's a very big difference that in how you're perceived. And I think that, like light-skinned drag queens also, light-skinned women actresses get differently treated than
and
dark-skinned
we spoke about
women.
Drake as well, like him doing the blackface thing.
Exactly. It's such a complex situation.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way to be all-inclusive ever.
So yeah, that's what
depressing.
we're not being really like positive about the Pride Month.
Yeah.
But I think this is an important issue to talk about, because we live in a time and age where we have to understand sensibilities. And
I would say that if you find that you think that you belong to a community and you still somehow don't find them being accepting of you, it's okay. There are other communities that will accept you.
Yeah,
you might want to feel like Pride Month might be the biggest thing that you see out on the streets, for example. But if they are not accepting you, it's okay. There is another community out there. You just have to find it sometimes.
Remember like how Kimchi had said that like on Grindr people like no fat, no femme, no Asian. And that is like on a dating app which is for gays. So it's like there's going to be that bias all the time. You can't take that away from people, but I think we have to be a little more understanding of how we voice these opinions and not just be like being
I think one of the
rude.
big things that has helped me, for example, in life is that, if you grew up in a school or whatever, you didn't get along with other people or were not like other people. And it's the same with like, if you're a part of any sort of minority, is that you feel like if nobody else gets this, then I'm the only person in this, then I'm alone.
Yeah.
But that is actually not true. Like, seek people out, like find the internet if you can. Like, even if you see the most othering options in the world where like, gay dating apps are saying no Asians. There will be a community of gay Asians who will accept you, I guess.
Asians.
Yeah, you just have to find them, unfortunately. And you might, but like just
Look for it.
Yeah, you will be included in some part of something. And if you are not, start something that makes other people feel included.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes that's unfortunately the only option. Sometimes you have to be the torchbearer of this community, of something that you only you think you understand, which is also okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's end this really depressing episode. Kind of hopeful, guys, maybe.
Yeah.
On Drag Race predictions for this season.
Asia O'Hara.
You think she's going to win it, or what?
If a queen has to win, a black queen should win it, I feel. And she's been like turning it out this season.
Is she your favorite queen, though, this season?
No, my favorite queen is eliminated now.
Who's that?
Monet Exchange.
Monet. My favorite queen is Miss Cracker. I don't know why. She hasn't proved herself at all, but I love her. I don't know why.
Yeah. She right now will fly on the wall, but like
I feel really
hopefully-
bad that she wants to be a funny queen and she's not being funny. You know?
She's too in her head, that's why.
Yeah. So good. So good. Good
Cool.
season.
Awesome. So that was our take on drag racism, if you may. And this Pride Month, what do you feel that we should address as a part of this community? If you have some concerns, do tell us. I'm House of Narona on Twitter.
I'm Sharanya_S on Twitter.
And you can talk to us at IVM Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll see you with a new episode tomorrow. Bye-bye.
As you can see, we have a podcast listener in his natural habitat. Billions of years of evolution have led him to this point. He's on his way to work, and listening to podcasts makes his miserable day better. He will now head to work and use all his knowledge to communicate with other colleagues and possibly future mates. You can find more of his species on ivmpodcasts.com, your one-stop destination where you can check out all the coolest Indian podcasts. Happy listening.